Welcome back. You are still watching The Full View. Now, earlier on, we promised you that we would be having a discussion around plant-based diets. Now, we've seen a lot of people advocating for keto, some talking about banting, but tonight we are joined by Mawethu Ngubo, who says that he is here to profess and proclaim the good news regarding plant-based diets. Mawethu, good evening and welcome to Sports on The Full View.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Now, Mawethu, we know that your plant-based journey started approximately 3 years ago. Tell us how all of this came about for you.
It was actually 2.5 years ago. I think it was actually just a conversation I started having with myself that made me question why are our people dying prematurely and why are lifestyle diseases so prevalent in our society. I mean, all of us in our families, we have people passing on from diabetes, cancer, hypertension, you name it. So then I started having a conversation with myself to say, something needs to change. We need to have, I then had a deep conversation with myself and said, something has to change. And as I did my own intensive independent research, I then came to realize that this has been quite a serious subject with your medical researchers, renowned medical researchers globally, who also are going back to the principle of Hippocrates, the father of Greek medicine, who says, let food be thy medicine. And it has been proven time and again that diet is actually the most effective and scientifically proven way of reversing chronic ailments.
So now we talk about plant-based. There are a lot of stereotypes and miseducation around the topic. What about people that say to you, well, obviously it's based on genetics. It can't be that plant-based will apply equally for everyone, the same way some people can do low calorie and others can't.
Look, to be honest, as human beings, we need to understand that we go back to the chemistry of life, which is carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. The issue of genetics is a bit of a flawed argument. So the food that you eat has to be consistent with this genetic setup and chemistry of life. Because when you argue genetics, if we look 4 or 5 generations back, these ailments are not prevalent as they are today, so it can't be. This has to do a lot with how diets evolved over time.
Okay, let's talk about now your own personal journey. You say you've been on it for about 2.5 years. Obviously, it was a transition for you. And what are some of the challenges that you came across on the way? Because I don't think it's instantaneous where you just wake up and you say, I'm now plant-based. What are some of the challenges you faced on your journey and how did you overcome those?
I think the biggest challenge was limited knowledge, because initially, when you think plant-based, you're thinking, I'm going to start eating rabbit food. The variety is so big, it's so vast this way. So the issue there is just the education part of it. But the more you get into it, the more you give yourself time to try to educate yourself about what it is and use all the necessary platforms that are there for research. You actually realize that it is actually not as bad as one would think it is, but also in terms of limitations around us, because the places where you buy whole foods are actually limited. Because, I mean, to be honest, we are consumers of chain stores.
Now, you are a health and fitness guru. Let's talk about what your personal testimony is in terms of how a plant-based diet has assisted you in terms of your fitness and your overall health. Have you seen an improvement in terms of your performance? What are those improvements?
No. There's been great improvements. I will not lie to you. So firstly, let us start from the overall wellness. So I suffered a lot from acid indigestion. I suffered a lot from insomnia. I had chronic inflammation. So the whole issue with that caused that is animal-based foods actually are acid forming to the body, and they cause chronic inflammation to the body. When you switch plant-based diet, you actually switch over to an alkaline. You eat foods that are alkalizing to the body, and when when the body is in alkaline mode, it just becomes easier. Your wellness improves drastically because you get out of the state of acidosis, which opens room for all other ailments. In terms of athletic ability, I have seen a tremendous change. I can tell you, I used to cycle a lot before actually going on plant-based. I was taking supplements to enhance performance. I was training. My fitness levels were just not peaking to where I actually wanted them to peak. And with actually the very same application, but only thing I did was just to change and switch over to a plant-based diet, my performances actually got better over time. So I've seen that happen, and I've seen a lot of athletes, pro athletes globally, switching over to this plant-based diet too. I mean, you've got Venus Williams, you've got the men's world #1 tennis player Novak Djokovic. All of them are switching over to plant-based diet, and the advantage with this is you recover better. Whether it be from the actual performance or even from injuries, your recovery is much better.
Okay, now let's get to the crux of our conversation here today, which is the Plant Power Challenge. This is now scheduled to take place on the 10th of October. We understand you're going to be running a total of 84.8 kilometers all the way from Beyersnodie to Grasmere Tollgate and all the way back. Tell us more about what has influenced you to take part and actually create this one-man campaign.
Okay. So I thought, what better way to spread the message than put the body to this brutal beating, but to also show that, a plant-based diet actually does support and actually enhances athletic ability. So I was saying there's no better way of doing it than putting your body to task where everyone can actually see and attest to this.
And it's interesting that you do that because so often we see athletes wanting to carb load on pasta before a big race, and it's all about the carbs, and you're doing the exact opposite now to say, well, you can have plant-based and still have the stamina and the endurance. Yeah,
look, with a plant-based diet, you would still have a significant amount of carbs that you put into your body. But remember, then you've got a fat split. You've got a split of, for instance, in my case, it would be 50% carbs, 30% protein, and 20% fat. So you still need a vast number of carbs in your body, but clean carbs. You need good carbs that are whole food.
Okay.
Because remember, your body releases them into energy.
Okay, Mawethu, just as we wrap up, give us more details about your challenge on the 10th of October. How do people find you? How do people support your cause? Where do they get a hold of you?
So on Instagram, I am vegan_Wethu, vegan_Wethu. And on Facebook, I am Mawethu Ngubo on Facebook.
Okay, Mawethu, thank you so much for talking to us tonight, and good luck for the 10th of October. We'll be keeping our eyes on you to see how that 84.4 kilometers goes.
Thank you.
There we go, speaking to Mawethu Ngubo, just getting an overall picture of how it is to be on a plant-based diet and how it can actually help you as an athlete in terms of your endurance as well as your stamina. And with that, we wrap up tonight's show. Thank you so much for